Hello, everyone. This is Howard Fox, and welcome back for another episode of the Outdoor Adventure Series, the podcast that celebrates individuals and families, businesses, and organizations that seek out and promote the exploration, stewardship, conservation, access, and enjoyment of the outdoors. My good friend Emanuel Rose is returning to the podcast because I want to talk to him because I'm not liking that. Okay, 3, 2, 1. Emanuel Rose is a returning guest to the Outdoor Adventure Series, and I wanted to get Emanuel's take on what it would involve getting out on the road as a full-time digital nomad, because I know Emanuel likes to get out there and explore weeks at a time, so I thought, who better than have him back on the podcast? So, Emanuel, it's good to see you again. How are you doing?
Thanks, Howard. I'm doing great, and it's a fun topic, and I want to talk to you about it so we get you out of the house and on the road when at some point this year for a few weeks. So
I
I got a double purpose here.
I love that. Thank you. And this is what it means to have a good friend, who cares about me and wants to, look out for the best. And I do that as well. And you're up the road a little bit in Reno. I even need to get out on the road and just get up to Reno just to see your outdoor environment because it's a little different. And I
Absolutely, and we'll do some desert time, but then we also just go over the border and go hang out in Truckee
uh
or in Graygle and get into the national forest over there. It's there's lots to do.
I love that. And I think you're spot on too. I mean, I am the host of the Outdoor Adventure Series. I really do want to put outdoor in the Outdoor Adventure Series. So, and
There
you
you
are my
go.
role model, and I aspire to do that just like you are. I am curious, but before I actually get started, I have to share this. You and I were talking before I hit the record button, and last weekend I was up in Petrified Forest National Park, and there's a lot of national monuments up there. And we were at a one of the monuments is a kind of a central gathering point for commerce in the Indian tribes that were up there.
Right.
Gorgeous red rocks and the beautiful landscape. And this couple was coming down the steps. I was waiting to get a picture with no people in it. And this couple was coming down the steps, and the husband, and they were with two kids. The husband had the Detroit Tigers hat on. And so, of course, being a Detroiter, I said, "Go D." And he knew exactly what I was talking about. And as we were having this conversation, and my friends Susan and Phil were there as well, we started to talk about just being what sites they were seeing. They shared that they are full-time digital nomads with their kids,
I love it.
and I thought that is such a cool thing to do, and what a way to learn for kids just to be out exploring the country, one section of the country at a time, over months or years at a time. That was pretty cool, and I was curious how they were staying connected, and here we are having this conversation as well. But I had to share that with you.
Yeah, that's cool. That's an interesting way to grow up for sure.
As if you were contemplating, I am past the what I would call idea. I'm past the what I might call the pre-contemplation. It's like, but it's actually top of mind. I got to get out of this house. I mean, I have a
Yeah.
nice digital background behind me, but I want to do my podcast out on the road. I want to do my coaching, my business coaching out on the road, and it and so it begs the question, and I'm curious your take on this. How would you advise folks to get started, and what are what's the preparation to be out there safe, but there's also the preparation to get the work done. So there's
Yeah,
seems like there's two tracks we have to care about here.
for sure. And I think about it in terms of systems. That's the first thing, right? So if we just take the work system, we got to have all the things that you have in your office space right now. We have to have that mobile ready, right?
Mhm.
And some things are easy to be mobile. You know, you got a laptop instead of a desktop. Your camera is fine to
Mhm.
have a super mobile. The sound, The speakering, that's a challenge, right? In terms of having this kind of microphone and you got headphones, that's fine, but it's the mic that's a challenge. And
Hmm.
then lighting is always a challenge on the road, so you got to figure out a system for that, and then power, right? Because everything is going to take electricity.
Right.
So, I'm really a, a, a low level understanding of all things power and electricity, but I do know that if you track the watt hours, that's the way that you can understand what you need. And so I have two 1,000 watt hour battery packs that also have inverters in them. So,
Mm.
and these things are readily available. Uh, and I always think in terms of anything that's critical gear, I always have redundant systems. So I actually
Mhm.
have three of these battery packs, and that way I've got one at home that's charging, and then I have two with me, and then I have multiple ways to charge the battery packs because they're critical gear. So I got solar panel, I've got car charger, I've got wall charger, and that way I can always be replenishing one while I'm using the other one.
Okay. So one's at home, two are on the road with you. These chargers, like I have a small Blue Eddy.
Yeah,
It's a
right.
replacement for one that went bad. And so you want one, and you had talked about the watt hour. So you really, it sounds like if I have a camera, a microphone, a computer, lighting, I have to know how much watt hours those are going to consume, say, over the
Right.
course of a day or a week that I'm going to be away. And that would be the goal. And then any other equipment that I have, the living side of the equation. So I
Yep.
need to be able to run all that equipment day in, day out on that device. And while that's happening, then the backup is charging. So
Yeah,
then
that's
I have
best
to
case. Yep.
swap it. Okay.
So I know that with a standard Starlink for internet and my laptop, I can get about 20 hours of work out of a 1,000 watt hour battery pack.
Okay.
So that's my consumption level. So for me, that's about a week's worth of work if managed correctly to take meetings and do work and all that stuff. So that's for me. And there now are very nice 2,000 watt hour battery packs, but I will always have two, at least two, right? You could have your 2,000 watt hour battery pack is your primary, but you still have to have a backup for me
Right.
because I've been out in nowhere, out in Troy, Oregon, or on the Deschutes, and have a plug go bad on one of those. And so if you just have one, you're going to be driving to town, which is 2 hours away.
Right. And you may not even be able to find what you need when you
Oh
get
no, you're
there.
just going to go there just to get your work done. Yeah, there's no way yeah, Eastern Oregon, small town in Eastern Oregon has anything like no Radio Shack there.
Okay. With you mentioned Starlink, and I know we were eventually going to uh, speak to it. Starlink has been around for a couple of years now. There's rockets going up and satellites. I imagine they have to be replaced day in, over the course of time. Is Starlink, as far as connectivity is concerned, would you consider that the gold standard if you are out in the middle of nowhere or on the shoots or up in Oregon and et cetera? Is that the gold standard for staying connected? Because work, podcasting, coaching requires connection. So
Yeah.
is that the gold standard?
For me, what I've found with Starlink is that it's as good as my home internet access. Um, So it's as long as you got north facing sky, you're good. You have to have line of sight to the north, but it is every bit as good as wired internet in your house for sure. and
Okay.
it's very reliable. It's very affordable,
Mhm.
and the power consumption of the Starlink Mini, I think, is it's like 15 watt hours or something, 15 watts per hour, very low consumption. I just have the standard. I haven't upgraded to the Mini because I don't need to, but there is that option.
Now, if let's say you run into an issue that you can't get to that a clear view of a north facing sky, what's your backup?
Well, I have a Wi-Fi, a cellular Wi-Fi router. So I would have to
Okay.
get into somewhere where there was cell reception, and then one of those Ryoko or one of those kind of tools that pulls in 5G and then turns that into Wi-Fi. And those also have been very very stable for me. But I don't like having to be within cellular range.
Okay. Okay. What type of or standing, sitting, tables, chairs, what type of equipment are you typically working in? Because day in, day out, that's your office.
Yeah, for sure. So the director chair is the one that you want to have. It has the square shape versus like the soccer mom chair. So the
Hmm.
director's chair, and then there's some heavy duty roll up tables that I use. There's some good Alps products that you can get that are pretty readily available. But then there's another one that's a different company that builds a really heavy duty set of tables, and so I usually have one for the kitchen, and then one for miscellaneous gear, and then one that's just like my desk. And that with the director's chair is pretty bomber. And then the primary tents that I use are the Cabela's Alaskan
Hmm.
guide. I think they're the Alaskan guide tents, and either a 4 man or a 8 man. And inside of those is enough room to be able to work and get out of the weather if needed. Otherwise, a lot of times I just set up on the front of my Xterra, and I just work outside, all plugged in out there, and get as you've seen, I have the vista in the background, and it always creates good conversation with people.
I love that. By the way, because I want to make this request early on so I don't forget. If you have some photos of you in the office in some of the
Oh
settings, I would
yeah.
love those for the show notes.
Oh yeah, I'll send some. Yeah.
Okay. So we've got the portable batteries, we've got charging systems while the in the inverters while the vehicle is moving, you're charging your equipment. You've
Yep.
got a solar setup when you get to your location to keep the batteries at the top of the charge. We've got Starlink. If we need to get to town, we've got the cellular, the Wi-Fi routers. We've got tables, chairs. What other? Now, we talked very briefly about some of the equipment for outdoors. Now, like I have a professional mic here. You've got one
Yeah.
with I forgot what those little things are with the
Oh yeah, the sound protector. There's a spit
sound
protector.
protectors. Yes, I was not going to say spit protector, but I thought about it. We've got a good digital camera. You've got a good camera. I've got a good camera. We've got lighting. Any particular kind of camera, mic, lighting, or is it just as long as it's good podcast quality?
Yeah, I'd say just quality. I mean, there's so much good electronics out there now. I'm not brand conscious. I'm feature conscious, and
Okay.
so that's how I do it. Yeah.
Okay. Now, while you're out there, I'm sure you've got your Coleman two burner stove. You've got your little propane kind of tanks. But what are you doing to also? You just need to take a break. You want to make some breakfast, some lunch, dinner. How are you accomplishing that?
Yeah, so I definitely have a propane grill, so I can grill food that way. Sometimes you got to make garlic bread or steak, so you want to have that grilled. The Camp Chef is the stove du jour these days. you want 10,000 BTUs per burner. That keeps it keeps the speed of cooking up. So yeah, the Camp Chef is good. And then I have I have one cast iron pan and then a couple of regular pans and some pots and I try to keep it simple. I like to grill meat
Hmm.
and cook a little bit of or have salad or to do some what we call chislets, which is usually wild game meat cubed up into one by one squares and then flash fried in the olive oil with some breadcrumbs on it and
Okay.
those sorts of
So
things.
we're not talking granola, we're talking good eats out there.
Yeah. No, we're grown up now. We don't have to have granola. We so you want to have one Yeti ice chest, probably 35 at least quarts, maybe 45 quart Yeti,
Hmm.
and that would be your the food that you need to keep cold. And then usually you'd have a second kind of uh, ice chest or soft-sided cooler that would be your drink cooler and all the other stuff. And then I keep a dry box for the dry food.
Hmm.
And then yeah, you get I don't have a trailer. I have an Xterra because I like the freedom and the mobility of just being in my truck. And
Hmm.
so I got four totes that are all the same size. I think they're like 20 quart totes,
Hmm.
and that's my storage system. And then for all the gear we just talked about, and then two ice chests, and then a tent. And you would need to have a cot. As a grown man, you want to have a cot and at least a 3 inch, but preferably a 4 inch pad for the
Okay.
cot. And so space is always a consideration, especially once you've got camera gear, you're gonna have some hiking gear, and then I have at least two disciplines that I'm out after. I usually have a hunting set, which could be decoys, shotguns, specialty clothing, and then I have fly fishing gear, which is waders, fly rods, and all those accessories. So it can get pretty tight. Plus, the dog has to have some space in the back too.
Ah, the dogs. That's a whole other
Yeah,
layer of complexity here.
yeah. So he's got his own bag and then some accessories for him as well.
Okay.
But so you've got to have your systems. You got to have your sleep system. You got to have your camp system, your cook system, and cleaning, and then also you got to have some kind of a bathroom system
Hmm.
because you got to have some ways to wash your hands and take care of all the other bathroom necessities.
Sure. I did a episode last year with a company called Compu Closet, and part of what excites me about going out with someone like yourself and really kind of replicating as best I can your conditions so that I
Yeah,
too can do this and lean into this unknown for me is also to have the facilities because you need that's not going away. You have to plan for it,
yeah,
and
absolutely.
especially when you're out for 1 week, 2 weeks at a time. And these guys at Comp Closet had this composting toilet, and it was great. You just do it all,
Yeah,
and it's just. And I imagine the Jeep Xterra is going to have. It is a Jeep, right?
Nissan. Yeah,
Nissan Xterix. Excuse me, Nissan. I apologize. But I mean, you have to factor in the space for it, this toilet. How, when you are all packed up and ready to go, you give the wife a kiss goodbye. Is that Xterra filled? There's not a spot left. Or is there still room for some maneuvering around?
yeah. Well, like last year when I was on the road for 8 weeks straight,
Yeah.
and I drove about 6,000 miles, and for that adventure, it was everything on the roof that was packed. And then yeah, there was no room because I've got all that gear I said, and then I got a guitar, and then
Mm,
my work gear, and yeah. So I've extended now. I have a hitch rack, so
okay.
I can put put some things like the propane tanks and ice chests and that kind of stuff on the back
Right.
outside, and that frees up a little bit of room on the inside. But it is a little Beverly Hillbilly. But I take the embarrassment of looking like a hillbilly uh, to be able to be have the freedom to not have to drag a trailer.
There you go. Well, something that I love that because at our age, I much want to, well, especially for me, I want to get out there and just to have done it and
Right.
successfully have done it. I don't care what I look like.
Yeah.
Speaking of the exterior, how are you getting the vehicle ready? Because you're out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
Okay. What are you preparing for as far as the vehicle is concerned?
Yeah, I definitely have a strong maintenance program all year round so that there are no surprises. And I'm getting ready to do some kind of pre-maintenance, which will be put in a new radiator, put in a new starter, a new alternator, even though they're all working fine. But those, and then belts and those things are the things that go wrong that are avoidable if you take care of them in advance. But yeah,
Okay.
you have to think about that too, and that's a good point.
Okay. So I am curious, before you are heading out, how much lead time are you allowing for yourself to like get ready? And do you have lists, kind of like a checklist that a pilot would use before they leave the gate, before they head out to the taxiway, they're on the runway, they're heading down the
Yeah.
runway. Do you have checklists that you have created? So, okay, I've got this, I've got this, I've got this.
Now, what I've done to kind of take the mystery out of it is I have uh, totes that are just for certain systems,
Okay.
and I never touch those, never take anything out of them except to use it and then put it back. And so,
Okay.
I've got the tote that's got all the fire making and hatchet and saw and all that stuff, and the tubes for the propane setup and those sorts of things. And I got my cooking tote, and then if it's an activity like fly fishing, then I have one bag that has the boots and the waders and the appropriate reels and flies in it. So I never have to think about it. Otherwise,
Okay.
it just it's too much overhead
Okay.
for me.
I appreciate that. Now, if you're doing your work, our computer, we have backup. Well, we have our storage on our computer. We've got a variety of backup flash drives we could plug in, but how are you storing your content when you are out on the field? You have that internet connection. Where's the content going so you know it's safe and you can work with it a day later, a week later, or more?
Yeah, I do everything on Google Drive. And so, obviously you have to have, well, you don't have to, you can work locally on your laptop. And then once you have internet, then it resets all the files for you. So that way you don't have to worry. I don't have to worry about it. It's just on the cloud.
Okay. Now, you briefly mentioned some of the safety aspect of carrying some of the equipment you're carrying, but what happens when something unexpected, say an unexpected guest comes by the tent?
Well, I mean, I do have some tools, some force multipliers, what we call them,
Okay.
and except for when we travel to Canada, we're not allowed to bring those force multipliers. So,
Okay.
but yeah, I in all the years, and I've been going and doing these things since I was 5 years old, and I really the probably the worst thing that's ever happened is a bear coming in the camp trying to get in the ice chest, right? Um,
Right.
Fortunately, haven't really ever had a need for it, but for any kind of defense, but we always are prepared for such activities.
Okay. So if you're a newbie, as I am now, I don't have the others may not have the benefit of knowing you and being good friends, and you're going to help me along here. Where,
Absolutely.
what would you recommend folks do to get out of this, oh, this is a kind of a wild idea, I'm never going to do it, to actually making it happen? What recommendations would you have for folks to start to get started?
Yeah, I love it. I would say go and, first of all, schedule the time and pick a weekend and say, we're going to do this for this weekend. And then do a little bit of research on YouTube and then you want to make sure that you have a comfortable sleeping area with a warm enough sleeping bag because that's probably one of the bigger changes that you're going to have since there's the heating part of the house is what we get used to.
Mm-hmm.
But pick a time, commit to doing it for the whole weekend, state park or something, or county park. And if you forget something, it's easy enough to run into town and pick up some extra supplies and go back out there. And the best way to do something is just get started. And you just have to think about there's food, there's sleeping, and safety from the weather. And you want to make sure you have enough the correct clothing and and then some activities to do during the day. So bring a book or bring a fishing rod.
I love it. Or, just you got the book, the fishing rod. I'm just curious, beverage of choice for you?
Well, in the morning it's coffee, and
Okay.
then yeah, I do enjoy
Loves
red
coffee.
wine, and I do enjoy a dram of whiskey now and again.
Okay.
And yeah, so that's nice campfire activity for sure.
Okay. A- As you kind of look back on the journeys you have been on, any surprises for you or moments of insight like, wow, this is great? And I know I alluded to it at the introduction. You are an award-winning author as well as podcaster, and I know you're very passionate about just getting out in the wilds and just being in the moment, being with nature, clearing your head, and just take it all in. But are there any for aha moments for you where you look back and go, "This is fantastic"?
Yeah, a couple years ago, I was up in the Great Plains of Saskatchewan, and I got to see the aurora borealis for a couple nights,
Yeah.
um, and it was, you see the pictures of it, right? I'd seen the pictures, and well, that's pretty, blah blah blah, that's nice, but experiencing it and feeling the electricity that was in the air and just uh, feeling like a part of it, even briefly, the beauty and the light show and the the electricity was just it was amazing and transformative for sure.
Okay. And I have to think that just being out there with your four-legged friend has got to be pretty amazing too. Man and his dog.
Yeah, I mean it is. It's nice to get out. But I'll tell you, after 8 weeks on the road, I was happy to get home and ready to get into I guess a more familiar routine
Hmm.
of activities. So, those people who are out there living like that and raising their kids like that I don't think I could do that. That's more than I would want to do. I like having seen my friends and
Hmm.
some of these things that we take for granted in our day-to-day activities.
Very good. Well, Emmanuel, I appreciate you taking time today to chat. And actually, I do have one last question or a couple last questions. Is there any equipment or materials, belongings that maybe we should have mentioned that we hadn't yet mentioned that come top of mind?
Well, yeah, once you get out there a few times, you really want to have like I have those small propane tanks. I think they're like 6 pound propane tanks. So the smaller ones because they're easier to pack. And then there's a distribution tree that you attach to that where you can
Hmm.
attach multiple appliances to it. So one propane tank will run your camp kitchen, your camp chef. It'll run the grill, and then it also have space for a lantern. So that's a really nice single purpose unit, so that you have your cooking and lighting system all contained in one for the kitchen. So that's important. And then yeah, you just kind of you'll the if you go 5 or 6 times, you kind of build your own systems. And there's Home Depot is your friend and REI is your friend, and you'll be able to really find the necessary gear around each of the activities that you're doing that way.
Excellent, excellent. Emmanuel, before we do head out now, where would listeners go to if they want to learn more about you and your work?
You can go to emmanuelrose.com and or type that into Google or type that into ChatGPT, and it'll come up first on that.
Fantastic. Emmanuel, thank you so much for this episode of this idea, just kind of a spark on a previous call you and I and our friend Rick were on. And I'm glad we were able to do it. And it's always a pleasure to produce work with you. So thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Howard, and I'm looking forward to getting your after action report from your weekend camping trip.
There you go. I love it. Well, I definitely have to make at least a couple days, a week, long weekend, a week. I think I can handle that, but there's some planning that goes into it. So it's definitely I'm ready for it because, like I said earlier, I need to be able to put the outdoors in the Outdoor Adventure Series.
There we go.
So
I love it.
I love it. Listen, we're going to do a quick close, and then you and I can have a final chat. Okay.
Sounds good.
All right, folks, we have just been chatting with Emanuel Rose, good friend and outdoor enthusiast, podcaster, award-winning author, and a man who really I aspire to join out on the open road, just to get out there, enjoy myself, do a little work, but just be off grid for a little bit, get away from the pavement. And Emmanuel has been doing this for many years, and the key word was the word systems. He has systems in place that allow him to do this. And so every month when he's going off on an excursion, he's prepared, and he not only is he enjoying himself, but he's getting his work done, because a lot of what we do is virtual, and we don't have to be stuck in an office. We can do it anywhere, state park, national park, BLM land, or wherever really your heart's desire. So really appreciate Emanuel taking some time to talk about the systems and processes that go into having this kind of lifestyle off grid. Now, do go out to Emanuel's website, emmanuelrose.com, and we'll also provide a link to it and also to his LinkedIn profile as well. As for us, you can find this episode on our website, outdooradventureseries.com. We're also on LinkedIn and Facebook on our Outdoor Adventure Series pages. The video of this episode will be up on YouTube. On our website, we'll have some photos with our show, along with the show notes of some of the equipment that we spoke about today. And I'm going to twist Emmanuel's arm. He's going to provide a few photos of him out in the middle of nowhere, just living his best life with his four-legged friend. And of course, folks, you can listen to this episode wherever you get your podcast from. All right, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, go out there and have a fantastic day. And we look forward to having you join us on a future episode of the Outdoor Adventure Series podcast. Take care now.